Hello and welcome to Rule of Three's video review for Final Fantasy Type 0, a RPG from Square Enix for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So this is a remake of a 2011 PlayStation Portable game of the same name. Originally, it never came west. It was a Japan-only release, but because the demand was so high and they were working on an HD remake, they brought it over for Final Fantasy people to play. And for those who were burned after Final Fantasy 13, I'm going to say Final Fantasy Type 0 is a lot better than the 13 saga or trilogy was by a long shot. But it still suffers from some issues of it being a PSP game, and I don't know, while really good, has some issues.
Class 0, beginning mission.
So the story of Final Fantasy Type 0 is Sid Olafsson, the High Commander of the Milit's his empire, decides to, want to take over the world of Orient, which is the name of the world. He invades the neighboring country of Rubrium and is basically able to negate Rubrium's specialty, which is their ability to use magic, with things called crystal jammers. Each nation has their own crystal, and it gives them special abilities, as well as every crystal has a l'Cie. And you'll notice that through the story that there's a lot of similar names from Final Fantasy 13, because this was part of the Fabula Novus Crucialis saga. So there's some similarities in terms of lore. But anyway, it looks like the Milits are going to win until the arrival of Special Unit Type 0, which are able to use magic without the use of the crystal, and are able to repel and kind of start this counterattack. And there's a lot more to it, but that's the base overview of the first little bit, because I don't want to get into spoiler territory. Overall, the story is really good. It's a pretty decent storyline. The only problem I have with it is that in order to understand a lot of what's going on, you have to unlock stuff in this what's called the Crucialis book, which is basically the lore book. And in order to understand kind of the world that's going on, because it doesn't really give you that information during the story, you have to read that book and fill it out to fully get all of the information you probably want to understand what's going on in the story. While that may be a negative sum for me, it's more of a positive, but you do have to kind of go out of your way to read more on the story. The other issue I have with it is, because there are 12 members of Class 0, none of them are able to really stand up and shine, or really even have any real character development other than maybe 3 or 4 of them. Which is a shame, because they do all have kind of these interesting personality traits, but they never get to really shine or develop in a way that most Final Fantasy characters would, or even in most JRPGs, and that's just because there's so many of them. The other problem I have with the story is that, and this will kind of also get into gameplay, is that the story elements are, I think, too far in between each other. So you'll go, get your story, and then you'll go a couple of hours before you get your next story bit, but that allows you to fill out the book and kind of read up, so it kind of evens itself out. But it's still a long period of time in between story bits. But like I said, on the whole, the story on itself is good. It just has a couple of issues because of its large cast and the nature of it being a handheld game, and I'll talk about that in a little bit.
I've finally found you. Pretty sneaky, hiding in a place like this.
I knew it! You're...
Shut it! Guys who talk too much won't last long in the field.
So there's a lot of gameplay elements for Type 0, so I'm going to try to go over these quickly and bring up ones that are more important. So it is an action RPG, so you're going to control one person in your party, but you can switch between party members at any time in your group of 3. However, you're going to have all 12 members with you at all times. You can only have 3 out on the field at a time. And when one character dies, you can switch in another. The system works great. I like the battle system. I think it's really fun. It's pretty difficult, but allows for some creativity on your teams, and every character plays differently, so you can find kind of a character that fits your play style and play it. But you are going to want to level these characters at similar times, because there are missions that have what are called I believe it's prepped students, and they get bonuses for doing those missions. So you want to kind of make sure everybody's evenly leveled, which brings me to probably one of the bigger complaints I have about the game, is that it's very, 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 very grindy. This, like I said earlier about the story being far in between, it's because during the next 2-3 hours you're going to be grinding, whether it be side quests, because there's a lot of side quests, finding things in the field, or just trying to level all 12 characters, it becomes a big grind, and just be prepared to fight a lot of monsters in between story and monsters. Just grind. Other systems are, when you kill an enemy, you can absorb what's called Phantasm from them. Phantasm is used to upgrade magic. You can upgrade magic after, I think, mission 2 or 3, and it just allows you to kind of upgrade its power, its MP cost, or its spell time or range, or whatever the spell has that you can upgrade. However, every time you upgrade something, something else goes down. So you can only, you can't make the perfect spell, but you can have like a very powerful spell that has a quick cast time, but it's going to cost a lot of your MP. Or vice versa, you can have a really cheap spell, but might be, a little weaker, or maybe have a little longer cast time. So you have to kind of do trade-offs on that aspect. Other gameplay elements are, like I said, there's a lot of side quests which are kind of fun. They're very pretty much just go kill collection, but some of them have you actually go out and like fight bigger monsters and stuff, and those ones are pretty fun. There's also expert trials, which are really hard missions that you can undertake. Like I've been kind of saying this all along. The main storyline is also broken into missions, so you're gonna get a mission and then send out people to do it. The cool thing is some of these missions have kind of like this strategy RPG aspect, to where you're going to have the open world map, and then you're going to see armies charging at each other. Your goal is to get armies to attack a base, and then take that base and then go to the next base and go to the next without losing your own base. And that mode's kind of fun. I did enjoy that. So in between missions, though, let's get off missions, is that you're going to have some free time, and the further in the game, the longer your downtime becomes, because you have to go grind more. But this is when you're going to do your side quests and all that fun stuff. But you can also talk to people. Some conversations, all conversations give you items. Very few give you stat boosts unless you go talk to your home lecture Moogle, and all of his conversations will give you stat bonuses per in between mission. I highly recommend doing those first. The problem I have with this system is, once again, this could have been a really good area for them to add a little bit of character development, as well as maybe giving some like incentive for like having certain characters in a party. But they don't. It's really just you talk to people, get some lore, and then that's it, which is kind of a shame, because like I said, I felt like they could have done a lot more with the school aspect of it, and maybe not make it as Persona-y, but just say you have 9 speak with 7, and their relationship grows, and if they're in a battle together, they might be able to pull off a combo, or maybe they get a stat boost or something, but something along those lines, just to maybe give them some character, some character progression, instead of it just literally just you talk to them. But like I said, because it's just a conversation, nothing happens. You get an item afterwards, but even then, there's still no character development within them most of the time. So it was kind of sad to see that. And I think that is all. Oh, okay. One more thing. Like I said, there's a lot, and I'm just trying to go over them in my head. There's also, when you're on missions, called SO requests. SO requests are special tasks that you have to do. You can either accept or deny them. If you accept them, you get special bonuses. If you complete them, if you fail them, you die. If you change areas, it gets canceled. And that system, actually, I like that system because it adds a special kind of challenge to some extent. Some of them I just ignored, like don't take damage for 3 minutes. That one's really hard. But some of them I always do, like land 15 hits, or stay alive for X amount of time. Those ones are usually doable, but as you probably can figure out, the higher the risk, the better the reward. The lower the risk, the lower the reward. So you kind of have to play a little bit around with that. The only other, so that's all the gameplay. Other things that I'm going to mention are the HD style of the game, HD overlook of the game. Is the only thing that really looks like they really touched up on were the main characters. Everything else still kind of looks like a PSP game. The environments are a little bit touched up, but most of them are very textury still and don't look clean. The open world map also kind of looks like they just kind of like, we just repainted a little bit, and did some relighting and stuff, because it still looks pretty empty and kind of bleh. But the main characters and everything looks good, but everything else just looks bleh for an HD remake. So that's kind of a set down. And the other really big complaint that I wanted to say for last is the camera. The camera is terrible in this game. Whenever you move it, it blurs the screen other than your main character, and it really hurts my eyes. And that was a big turnoff for me. I still enjoy the game, but I could only handle it for so long before my eyes would just start to hurt. And it's just not the world's greatest camera, and that's part of the problem from coming from a PSP game. especially when you're moving. And I think that blur is because the textures and stuff weren't meant for, you know, bigger screens with the camera, so it just hurts the eyes, and it's a real pain in the ass, to be honest.
I was impressed with what I saw today. Well then, I hope we'll meet again soon.
Final Fantasy Type 0 is a great Final Fantasy game, definitely much better than Final Fantasy 13, but not quite on the same level as some of the older ones. I would put it kind of in the 10-12 category. I think it's a must-play for anybody who is really looking for a really good Final Fantasy, but for everybody else, I'm going to give this game a rent verdict. For the mass majority, even myself, I would probably give this a rent verdict. Just because there's a lot of just small issues with it, mostly in the controls and grind aspect of some stuff. But it's a fun game. I did enjoy it, but I don't think it's worth the full $60. If they probably would have come out with this at 30, I would have said do it now, or even 40. So that's it for this review. Next review will be for Bloodborne, which I'm actively playing, and I'll tell you right now, it's really fun. As long as you're in the Soul series. But anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure to check out rule3.com for all our latest news postings and all that good stuff. Like us on Facebook and Twitter. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, if you have a chance, go check out our Patreon campaign. I'm running a Patreon campaign to see if we can get some money flowing into the site so I can make things better, as well as do some stuff. So please, if you can donate to that, that would be much appreciated. Like I said, if you only can donate $1, that is all I'm really asking for. From people who come to the site regularly or want to support us. If you want to support more, that's cool. I have small incentives for doing so, but all I'm really asking for is, you know, if I can get $1 per person, that would be amazing, and I can get this site getting more content up faster, as well as being able to do giveaways, which is what I really want to do again. So anyway, thanks for listening once again, and until next time, always remember to trust in the rule of 3.